Hello everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the OptiTrack LiveLink tutorial series for Unreal Engine. Before we get into Unreal Engine, it's important that we discuss how we get there optimally. To preface, if you're running Motive and Unreal, or any other plugin for that matter, on the same computer, the next section doesn't really apply to you. Instead, simply set your address in streaming settings to loopback and the IP address in Unreal Engine for both the server and the client as 127.0.0.1. To continue, you can skip to the next chapter or jump to this timestamp on screen now. When streaming data from Motive to Unreal Engine, it's incredibly important that you do not stream on your internet network. If you do, you could throttle the network with how much data you're sending each second. Here's an example of what could happen if you do stream on your internet network. So with both Motive and Unreal Engine open, we're just going to set the Motive IP address to my internet's IP address, blurred of course for safety reasons. Now we'll move over to Unreal Engine and we'll set the IP address for the server and client to my internet address. You can see that now I am connected and streaming data across the network. If I go into any website, you can see I can't actually load any website. This is because my network is being throttled right now by how much data we're sending back and forth. In other cases, you could experience dropped frames in Motive. This is because Motive is responding to requests coming from the plugin side of things. If Motive can't respond to those requests in time due to the network traffic, other functions in Motive will cause interference leading to dropped frames. The solution here is to create an isolated network for your real-time applications and other hardware that need to communicate to the whole pipeline. For example, an LED wall controller or a reference video device. This isolated network can run on a switch hub, like so. Here are the devices on screen that you will need to truly optimize your setup. If you need help obtaining any of these devices, reach out to us at optitrack.com. Here is a diagram that explains the entire network topology of the network. First, we have the camera network, known as the aggregate switch. This has a cable going out of the switch and directly into port 1 on the Motive PC. This port will have an automatically obtained IP address. Then out of the second port of the network card from the Motive PC is a cable that goes to the switch hub. This is essentially your isolated network. From the switch hub, you can now connect any other device that needs to communicate to each other. Ours, for example, is connected to our Unreal Engine PC, our LED controller, and to any other server here at our station. This network now has little traffic compared to your internet network, and is perfect to run switcher applications like Switchboard or other hardware interfaces that need an IP address. From this point, we will need to configure the network cards. Before then, please make sure that your network card has the most up-to-date drivers by visiting the chipset manufacturer's website. This is typically Intel or Marvell. Press the Windows button and type View Network Connections. You will then see each network device on the computer. We will change some settings on the Motive cameras port just to make sure that we are optimizing the incoming camera data. On screen will be all the settings you will want to configure on your card. Let's quickly go through each and what they mean. Interrupt moderation. This allows Windows to interrupt this network for system health checks and other operations. We don't want Windows to interrupt this connection at all, so we will set this to disabled. Interrupt moderation rate is the rate at which to interrupt. Of course, we don't want this, so we are disabling this. Maximum number of RSS queues is a sub-property of received side scaling, which we will cover in a second. This is the amount of queues of data to have and read from. In our testing, this has worked best at 2 to 4 queues when it's enabled, but typically we keep this and the other property disabled. Receive buffers. This is the amount of memory allocated to read incoming data. We typically set this to 4096. Receive side scaling, like we talked about earlier, is set to disabled, but when it's enabled, make sure to set maximum number of RSS queues to either 2 or 4. Feed and duplex. This is normally set to auto-negotiate by default, but double check that nothing else is selected for this property. We want auto-negotiate for this property. Transmit buffers is typically set to 2048, and this is the amount of memory allocated to send outgoing data. Basically the opposite of receive buffers. From our testing, these are the best settings to change for complete optimization in the network pipeline, but be sure to take note of what is changed as you are working in case of any other issues that you come across, so you can revert back to the settings if they don't work in your setup. For the network ports that are sending out data or receiving data in this isolated network, we can basically set all of the same settings, and I will be showing these properties on screen now so you can change them. If you are streaming on the same PC with a loopback address, then you won't need to worry about the rest of the video and can skip to the next video in the series. Lastly, we will want to set static IPs for each address in the isolated network. You can select whatever gateway you would like, but here's how we have set up ours. We have a default gateway of 192.168.1.0, and then for our motive stream out port, we're at 192.168.1.5, and then for the Unreal Engine, we're at 1.6, and then PC3 is 1.7, PC4 is 1.8, and then for our LED wall controller, we're at 1.10. The motive stream out address will be the server address that we set in streaming settings, and will also be the server address in Unreal Engine when we are connecting via Live Link. We have now optimized everything for real-time streaming and network communication. In the next episode, we will be installing the plugin. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.